6 days ago, Marc Cucurella won the World Cup. Today, Chelsea sold him. Read that again, because it doesn't make sense yet. It's not supposed to. Somewhere inside Stamford Bridge, someone signed off on this. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the decision could end up defining Chelsea's next 3 years, for better or for a lot worse. Let's go back to where this actually starts. Not this summer. 3 years ago, Chelsea signed a left-back for a fee that instantly becomes a punchline. £63 million for a player most of Europe had barely heard of. Within months, he's the most mocked player at the club. Fans sarcastically applauding him off the pitch after a defeat. Pundits calling him one of the worst signings in Premier League history. Go check the reaction from that season if you don't believe it, it's still out there. And it wasn't just the fans. The club around him was falling apart in real time. Managers coming and going every few months. No system. No identity. No plan. Just money being thrown at problems that money couldn't fix. Chelsea spent over £600 million across 2 transfer windows during this period and still finished mid-table. Cucurella got dropped into the middle of that chaos, and because he was the most expensive new arrival, he became the easiest target in the building. Here's what almost nobody noticed at the time. He didn't ask to leave. He didn't request a transfer. He didn't sulk his way out the door the way plenty of players in his position would have. He just stayed. Kept training. Kept showing up to a job where half the stadium had already decided he wasn't good enough for it. Think about what that actually takes. Every week, walking out in front of people who've already made up their minds about you. Every mistake amplified. Every good moment ignored. Most players don't survive that mentally. Some leave on loan just to escape the noise. He didn't. Then something happens that nobody saw coming. A new manager walks in. Looks at this so-called bust. And instead of seeing a defender who couldn't defend, he sees a player nobody else had figured out how to use properly. Give him license to attack, to drift into midfield, to overload the opposition, and suddenly he's not a liability. He's a nightmare matchup. Within one season, this same player, the punchline, spends 90 minutes dismantling Barcelona's most hyped academy product without breaking a sweat. A few weeks later, he doesn't just contain Mohamed Salah. He exploits the exact space Salah leaves behind, delivers the cross himself, and sets up the winning goal against Liverpool. By the end of that season, the joke is dead. Nobody's laughing anymore. Real Madrid are reportedly making calls that winter. Chelsea's answer is simple: he's not for sale. Not at any price. Hold on to that detail. We're coming back to it. But that's not even the craziest part. Here's the craziest part. This summer, he goes to the World Cup with Spain. Not as a squad player. Not as a rotation option. As a starter, in every single match, for a team many people expected to be the best in the tournament and almost nobody expected to actually win it clean. It doesn't start well. A flat opening draw against a team playing their first ever World Cup match raises real questions. Is this Spain team overrated? Too reliant on 2 or 3 superstars carrying everyone else? For 90 minutes, nothing clicks, and the criticism online is immediate and brutal. Cucurella doesn't say much publicly. He just keeps doing the job nobody's watching, while every camera and every headline chases the midfield and the attack instead. Round by round, Spain gets sharper, calmer, more ruthless. And by the time the knockout stage arrives, something's quietly changed. Every winger who lines up against Cucurella has the exact same experience. They get the ball. They turn. And before their next touch, he's already there, not through pace, not through size, but because he's reading the play a full second before everyone else on the pitch. Then comes the semifinal. Kylian Mbappe. The best forward alive, playing the best football of his career, in a World Cup semifinal, with everything on the line. He's given one job that would break most defenders: stop him. Not slow him down. Stop him. For 90 minutes, every time Mbappe finds a yard of space, it's already gone by the time the ball arrives. Late in the game, in the one moment that looks like it might actually break Spain, Cucurella produces a single tackle so clean it silences the entire stadium. That tackle doesn't just stop a chance. It ends France's World Cup in real time, right in front of everyone watching. Final. Argentina. Lionel Messi, in what everyone in that stadium quietly understands is likely his very last World Cup match. This isn't a stat line. This is the closing chapter of the greatest career the sport has ever produced, and Spain's job is to make sure it doesn't end the way Messi wants it to. 90 scoreless minutes. Extra time. The tension in that stadium by the second half of extra time is the kind that makes people who don't even watch football stop scrolling their phones. And then, finally, Spain break through. The trophy goes back to Madrid for the second time in the country's history. Cucurella doesn't come off once. Not for a single minute of the entire tournament. 7 clean sheets. A World Cup winner's medal, 6 years after being let go as a teenager by the club that first spotted him and decided he wasn't part of their future. So here's where you'd expect this story to end. Redemption complete. Chelsea's reject becomes a world champion. Roll credits. Except 6 days later, Chelsea sell him. And this is the part that should be setting off alarms because of what's happening around it. This same summer, while getting rid of a World Cup winner, Chelsea are spending like the transfer market is about to shut down forever. 57 million euros on a 21-year-old right-back nobody outside Italy had heard of 12 months ago. A club record fee, over 137 million, for a winger, agreed less than a day before they went back in for another centre-back worth 60 million more. Since 2022, Chelsea have thrown over 460 million euros at defenders alone. More than Manchester City spent in the same window. Almost double what European champions PSG have spent on defenders in 4 years. So say that number out loud. €500 million trying to fix a defense. And in the middle of that exact spending spree, they sell the one defender who just proved, on the biggest stage the sport has, that he already belonged there. Remember that detail from earlier, Real Madrid calling that winter, Chelsea saying not for sale at any price? That was before the World Cup. Before 7 clean sheets. Before he became one of the most complete left-backs on the planet. And somehow, his value to Chelsea went down, not up. Nobody at the club has named a replacement. There isn't a marquee left-back signing lined up to soften this. Just a £52 million check, and a hole at precisely the position Chelsea claimed to be obsessed with getting right. If that sounds like it doesn't add up, that's because it doesn't. Not from the outside. Not yet. Here's who's waiting on the other end of this transfer. Real Madrid. Managed by a coach who has built his entire career around exactly this type of player, unglamorous, relentless, the one nobody wants to talk about after the game but every serious coach wants inside their squad. A manager whose biggest teams have always been built from the back, with fullbacks who defend like their life depends on it and still have the engine to support the attack for 90 minutes. He just watched this exact player protect a lead against Lionel Messi in a World Cup final. He didn't need a scouting report to know what he was getting. He needed 6 days to make a decision Chelsea might be thinking about for a lot longer than that. And there's a wider pattern here worth noticing, because this isn't the first time Chelsea have let a player leave right after his value peaked somewhere else. It's become something of a habit at this club, develop a player through the hard years, watch him break out on the biggest stage in the sport, and then sell within weeks, as if the story ends the moment the outside world finally notices what Chelsea already knew. Ask any Chelsea fan how that pattern has worked out historically, and you'll get the same answer, not well. Maybe this time is different. Maybe this works out fine. Maybe the new signings settle and immediately, the gap at left back never shows up, and in a year nobody even remembers this transfer happened. But clubs don't usually sell a World Cup winner less than a week after the final, at the exact position they're spending the most money to fix, unless something isn't adding up behind the scenes that hasn't been said out loud yet. We don't know that reason. Not yet. But we're about to find out, and when we do, this is the video you're going to want to have already seen.